Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Anil Joshi. Welcome you to my series Iconology and Temple Architecture Perspectives. In the contest, we are going to visit today Daulatabad or Devgiry Fort. Now, why the fort was important? Why the fort, it was said that cannot be conquered with straight battle. Why it was said that it has the world's best strategic planning. I think let's have a look at it closely. Let's go together, find out the details and get convinced the strategic importance, why it was capital, and why once upon a time Mughals thought that instead of Delhi, Daulatabad will be a better choice for capital. We'll know it once we go into strategic importance and strategic details of this Daulatabad or Devgiry fort. Daulatabad is a medieval age city fort in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra. What does it mean? There was a fort and also surrounding the place of the fort was given to the people to stay, mostly for the military officers, and most of them were migrated from Delhi to Daulatabad, but subsequently again they went back to Delhi. That's a different story altogether. The fort appeared on a 20-meter high conical granite hilltop. We'll see how it looks, why it was a unique, we are going to know it. Then Daulatabad fort complex represent impressive architecture, military engineering, town planning and water management system. Can you believe terracotta pipes were used for the irrigation or water supply of this town? Daulatabad fort had probably been the strategic fort of most important. It was the most important fort, most important place. Maybe it is roughly situated at middle of India, and roughly because of this town and roughly because of their strategic position as far as the military and revenues are concerned. Early history of Daulatabad fort dates back to 12th century CE, but the hill fort has human footprints since 100 BC. Therefore, Daulatabad fort, at that time called as the Devgiry fort earlier, has always remained an interesting topic for tourists and history explorers, that how the civilization has started, how the fort architecture came into existence. The most important fort of the Deccan Sultanate or of the Deccan Plateau is the Aurangabad. Why Aurangabad? Because it is situated, Aurangabad is situated well connected to all the places in India. It is 16 km, the fort is 16 km northwest from Aurangabad, which is well connected by all routes to India. Daulatabad was formerly known as Devgiry. The belief of Lord Shiva staying around the hill was the reason behind the name Devagiri. The spanning over an area of 100 hectares, the town is entirely surrounded by fort walls, well protected. Daulatabad or former Devgiry, they were, both are same, was earlier located on the caravan route. Caravan route was from, you can say, consider roughly from Arabian Sea to the Bay of Bengal across the India. So that was a trade route and this place was well situated over it. Probably that is why Devgiry had always got strategic importance over the centuries. It can be dated back as to 100 CE. The Devgiry fort contained 12 rock-cut caves, which takes the history further back to 100 BCE or even older. Some of them cave carvings illustrate niches of Jain Tirthankars. So earlier dominated by Jainism. It certainly confirms that region had an influence over Jainism during the past Mauryan era. So for us it is important that it dates back to Mauryan era. Now Mauryan era was dominated by Jainism. Few remains of ancient Hindu and Jain temples also exist, are quite notable here. So from Maurya's empire, right then up to the Aurangzeb, the history can be traced. Around the 16th century CE, Devgiri emerged as an important upland town near present-day Aurangabad along caravan routes going towards the west and south of India. The historical triangular fortress in the city was literally built around 1187 by the first Yadava monarch Bhilama in 1308. The city was annexed by Alauddin Khilji of the Delhi Sultanate, which ruled over the same part of North India for a couple of years. 1327, Muhammad bin Tughlaq of the Delhi Sultanate renamed the city Daulatabad and shifted his imperial capital to the city of Delhi from Delhi of city, ordering a mass migration of Delhi population to the Daulatabad. This was considered partly because of the Mongolian attacking and partly because he thought that Devgiri will be more safe. So that gives it important how safe it was even when Mughals had both the capital towns, Delhi and Devgiri. They selected Devgiri as their capital town and they shifted their military base over here. However, Muhammad bin Tughlaq reversed his decision in 1334. So it was a decision for a couple of years only, and the capital of Delhi Sultanate was shifted back to Delhi. This is partially because the Mughal Sultanate start thinking that they are losing hold over the north. So Devgiri was ultimately captured by Alauddin Khilji in 1307. The Mughal army captured Daulatabad fort, captured the Devgiri hill, Devgiri fort in 1633. In 1499, Daulatabad became part of Aurangabad, Ahmednagar Sultanate and then secondary capital. In 1610, near Daulatabad fort, the new city of Aurangabad was established by the name Kharaki to serve as the capital of the Ahmednagar Sultanate by Ethiopian military leader Malik Ambar, who was brought to India as a slave but rose to become a popular prime minister of the Ahmednagar Sultanate. Most of the present-day foundation of the Daulatabad fort was constructed under the Ahmednagar Sultanate. So these two things are important, Aurangabad and Ahmednagar. They were literally connected as far as sultanates are concerned. The area of city, the hill fortress of the Devgiri, sometimes Latinized as the Devgiri, Devagiri or Deogiri, both are same. It stands on a conical hill about 200 meters high. Much of the lower slopes of the hill has been cut away by Yadav dynasty because they want to make a steep wall. So by cutting the smaller hills, smaller stones, they make a 50-meter straight vertical wall-like structure to improve the defense. The fort is a place of extraordinary strength. Why? Strategically placed. Why? Excellently designed. Why? It has multiple barriers to enter inside for an enemy which were difficult. We are going to see them one after another, all these things. Why it was impossible rather for the enemies. The only means of access to summit, that is the topmost portion of the fort where the flag was hosted by a narrow bridge with a passage not more than 2 people to go with, and it was by the earlier days of course by the leather, and a long gallery executed in the rock which has for the most parts of a very gradual upward slopes. About midway along the gallery, the access gallery has steps or steep stairs, the top of which is curved by a grating distinguished in the time of war to form a heart of the huge fire kept burning by the garrisons above, so that burning fire was one of the indication and a sign they were using. At the summit and at the intervals of the slope are the specimens of massive old cannons facing out over the surrounding countrysides. So these cannons were meant for the defense, and it was practically impossible to break this defense. Also at the midway there is a concave entrance meant to confuse the enemies, that is called as Bhulabhulaiya, dark way, and we have a different video for that, do not miss it. The fort had following specialities with their advantages. 1. A separate exit for the fort, only one entrance. No separate exit but a single entrance. The exit there is designed to confuse the enemies. So the exit was very confusing. Either it was leading to the trench where there were crocodiles, or it was leading to a blind end where the enemies were caught and they were killed. So proper entrance 1. If you try to take another exits, then you will be in total mess. No parallel gates. This is designed to break the momentum of the invading enemies. There are right angle. The passages are right angle to each other, and at one right angle passage there is another false passage which you take to the blind ending something like structure which is surrounded by wall inside, where the soldiers from the hill or from the fort were just waiting you to get caught, and you have got no escape from that. They were killing. So this was totally confusing for the enemies. The spikes on the gates. The gate has a spike. We are going to see it when we will see our photographs. In the era before gunpowder was invaded, basically it was a strong barrier by the gates, and that was spiked. So even an intoxicated elephant cannot break it, or if it tries to break it, the elephant will get sick. Or sometimes there are incidences where the elephant has gone mad, so he will start running in your own army instead of attacking the enemy. The presence of spike ensures that the elephant died or injured. Both way it is dangerous. A complex arrangement of the entry, curved walls, false doors designed to confuse the enemy, false but well designed gates of the left side lured the enemy soldiers in a trapped position. As I told you, they will see a way out, they will strive to follow them, and they will land in the place where there are all the four sides there are walls, and they are trapped in that, and eventually they will be fed by the crocodiles. Now let us see what are the architecture and major structure which makes this fort unique. The Devgiry fort, built in 200 meters conical over a 200-meter conical hill, is itself an extraordinary preservation of the ancient fort archaeology and architecture. The Yadavas had further cut bottom side slopes of the hill, leaving at least 50-meter vertical rock on each side of the hill to give it a reinforcement. Each natural defense made the fort invisible to cannons of any strength. They cannot be reached. This fort cannot be reached from any cannon, irrespective of the range, from any of the side and any of the angle. A single entry or exit way made the job more difficult. So there is only one single entry and one single exit. Another way you try to take will put you in more problems, and eventually you will be killed. A moat surrounded by western part of the Daulat fort that strengthens the protection system of the Daulatabad fort. The moat once had crocodiles. They had crocodiles, making it more difficult to pass it, and anyone that falls inside will be eaten by the crocodiles. Then Daulatabad fort also had several false doors to confuse the moving enemies. In short, complex arrangement of entryways, curved ways, false doors made the fort inaccessible and unbeatable. Nobody could conquer it with straight means or with end-to-end strike. Now main structures here are we are going to see now main structures which are remaining here. Now Daulatabad fort architecture includes quite a few important structures. Some of them have, however, both turned to the ruins. The Chand Minar and the Chandani Mahal are still bearing the legacies and Muslim supremacy. Those once dominated the Indian Sultanate. Now Chand Minar was constructed following the Char Minar was constructed in Delhi, and considering its height, its appearance, Chand Minar was designed. Of course, Chand Minar is smaller than Chand Minar. Char Minar is much taller and Chand Minar is less in the height. However, the design and mimicking is the same. Now Chini Mahal was a mahal that was used first by the Shah Jahan when he came in this area, but ultimately it was used for imprisonment by the Aurangzeb. The 12 rock cut caves and 100, there are rock cut caves and there are more than 100 before Common Era BCE. So there are 12 rock cut caves which are more than 100 BCE years. Since then, means practically we can say 2100 years old. They approve Buddhism and Jainism they are the beginning of Buddhism and Jainism at that time. We can say that is a Maurya Kalin period, that was a Maurya Kalin period. Now let us go to the defense structures. The entrance or the exit scheme had always played a crucial role to the fort's defense. The Daulatabad city had a three-layered supreme quality defense system, namely Amber Court, Mahakot and Kalakot. The Amber Court had formed the first line of defense consisting of 40-kilometer long wall with 45 bastions and 9 gates. The entire city of Daulatabad had residing within this periphery of the Amber Court and Mahakot. So well, the city was totally protected from all the sides. The next line of defense consists of 5-kilometer long fortification and 4 layers of enclosure walls and 54 bastions, Kalakota, and large layer of defense. They appear at the foot of the hill. The rock cut mount forms the defense of the Kalkot section encircling the western side. Now we are going to see this fort. Now this is taken when we are going from Ellora to this fort, so little away from it. So you can see from here, this is the Devgiry fort. This is the hill. Now we'll go near it and we'll know it in more detail. See here, this entire fort. From here we can see this granite cut is around 150 feet height, and around that there is a drainage in which there is water and crocodiles. The above you are seeing are the palaces. Now let's start going to the closer to the fort. You have to take the ticket and get the entrance. Here you have to deposit certain amount for not throwing the bottles inside. Now this is the gate in which you can go inside, or you can say this is the first barrier. Now these are the barriers one after another you are going to see, and what I told you is they are at right angles. The way is right angles and they are very difficult to penetrate, because if they are in straight line the momentum helps. But see, look at this, at every short distance there are turns and they are at 90 degrees. Now if you miss a passage, you will go into the false passage, which will lead eventually to a passage which is closed from all the sides, and you will be caught by the soldiers or patrolling soldiers of the fort. Now here see, they are narrow, in that lot many cannons and all cannot go inside. It is not possible to take them. That's why it was said that it cannot be hit by any cannons from any way or any distance. Now each and every chamber we are seeing here was full of the guard soldiers. Every door is a protecting barrier. Look at the Chand Minar. It was constructed after seeing Char Minar of the Delhi. It is Chand Minar. Now here you are seeing all the chambers around are showing guns like this. So anyone is traveling through this area will face these guns, or they are either guns or cannons. All different type of artilleries are kept here. They are big, they are powerful, and they have safeguarded this fort. Now see how the entrance is. You have to take every few steps, then you will have to turn. Now here you come to the another important place. After crossing Chand Minar, now this big tower which was constructed was to keep a big gun, that is the Genda cannon. So this cannon had a range of 8 kilometers. We are going to see it in more details. And once you climb up that steps, see, this is a strategic position for the most powerful gun, most powerful cannon of that time. From here you can see a distance of around more than 8 kilometers, and all the area was surrounded by hills. So it was not possible to come to this area from the plain ground. You will have to come by this. Now look at this Mendha Top. Now we'll go into details of the Top. There are different videos made as far as how it was designed, who made it, from where it was brought, what was the technology of that time. Everything is covered in some different lecture in detail. Here we are just talking of its strategic importance as far as defense is concerned. Look at this. This cannon at the range of 8 kilometers can hit any target. And here also we are seeing part of Chini Mahal. This Chini Mahal was used by Shah Jahan, but unfortunately afterwards it was used for imprisonment. They are not allowing, ASI people are not allowing to see from inside because it is not in good shape and safe to go in. So you can see it from outside only. You can see from front, or you can see from this Mendato. From both sides you can see there are some remnants of the temple, circled, designed, and way. Now look from here. You can see a small bridge which is constructed recently, maybe around 1952. Now this is a dench containing water. This was containing crocodiles also once upon a time. So if the bridge is taken away, it was of the leather, then it was not possible to cross this barrier. So that was a strategic importance. See how many barriers were there. You just cannot go inside. See how there were crocodiles inside. So it is just not possible to swim across. And most important thing, from lot of places, especially from Andheri path, that is dark path, there were ways which were leading to this. So if anybody misses their ways, they will straight fall into this. and once they fall, then their fate is same. They cannot escape alive from the hungry crocodiles. This is the same what we are showing. Now look at the clean cut granite of around 150 feet high. Now the way to the fort, although dark, now we are talking of the Andher Kotheri, that is Andheri path or Bhula Bhulaiya. Let's call it Bhula Bhulaiya because of its technically correct meaning. The way to the fort is through a dark and dangerous tunnel called Andheri. The defending army would pour hot water or oil on the invading army passing through it. One thing is, there was a dark, you just can't see anything. If you try to go inside, there were secret chambers. The soldiers will hit you. If you try to still find the ways, then there are at many places two ways. One place was going straight to the ditch, which you were seeing just now, where you will meet crocodiles. And by certain ways, there is bifurcation and again reunion. So you will get separated and again meet your counterpart on same direction. And if you miss them, then you will find that they are enemies and you will start killing your own people. The strategic position of the watchtower, then base stations and cannons and military master classes, they were dominating Daulatabad fort. Now let's know how. Daulatabad had 288 cannons, out of which almost 150 are in very good shape. However, shifted now from original location to nearby for exhibition. Aurangzeb's bronze cannon Mendha is still a major attraction of the Daulatabad fort, which we have just now seen. Then Daulatabad fort water storage and supply system is extremely well designed to cater long sieges. Then Hathi House, that is the elephant trunk, the mammoth water reservoir built at Mahakotas would easily fulfill the water requirement of Daulatabad fort and the townships. Now it is very easy to understand here that there are lot of reservoirs, well as well artificially made wells. They made systems in such a way that rainwater harvesting was existing at that time, and they were filling this with the rainwater, and it was in such a way that entire requirement of the town was fulfilled by this water. Now we come to the Andheri Marg, that is the dark passage. As we had discussed just now, it was extremely difficult, and if you want to know these descriptions and all that thing in more detail, we have separate video on that. Here we are just saying what is the strategic importance of it as far as safety is concerned. Since there are a lot of people who are scared of dark, believe me, there are good lights inside, but a tunnel and darkness, if somebody gets scared of it, then there is a passage, then there are steps, but the steps are really difficult. You should have good trekking shoes, hats, then water bottles with you. Otherwise, it is difficult to climb that alternate way. Here, believe me, there is adequate light. It is enlightened, so you can have really enjoyable sightseeing. So also, there are a lot of people who are coming from opposite side. On Sundays, it is heavily crowded, and other days, you are the king. And believe me, there is nothing to get scared. You can walk in easily. Enjoy how they have made the entrance of it, and just start thinking, those who are loving forts, have you ever seen that many barriers, that many safety measures for any fort which was constructed around 1000 years back? So it was really a marvel. Great work by Yadavas. And secondly, it was strategically important because it was a central place, and it was considered as one of the something like safe deposit vault. So people were keeping all the treasures in this area because it was considered as a practically safe. hardly half a kilometer, but it is absolutely enjoyable. And there is nothing really to get scared. It has secret chambers also, in which the soldiers were sitting, guarding and waiting for enemies to come so that they can kill them. Some natural light sources were also there, but some of them were directly leading to the crocodile range. Of course, they are closed now, so it has become very safe. There is no fear of falling. Then Chand Minar, not Char Minar. Chand Minar, a replica of Char Minar, Delhi, slightly smaller, but it looks same. Then Alauddin Bahamani constructed Chand Minar in 1445. It is used as the watchtower also, because people can climb up and see from long distance if enemies are coming. I told you it is a replica, but not exactly. Char Minar is far ahead, far better. It also serves as a victory tower, mosque and watchtower. The astonishing Indo-Islamic architecture of the Chand Minar is still a masterpiece of marvel to watch. With a height of 210 feet, the tower is also referred among as the highest stone minarets across the world. Now some difficult paths. Now we come here to the another structure. Now this is the Chand Minar from distance, and look at this white structure. What is that? It is a palace. Now what is that palace known as? It was a palace where the Aurangzeb was living, that is Baradari. This is a white pavilion on top of the hill, and indeed an aesthetic delight and one of the major attractions of the Daulatabad fort. Little difficult to climb, but I think you should make it. Baradari consists of the beautiful designs of 12 arches. Then Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan ordered for the construction of Baradari in 1636. The pavilion is known to be the favorite place of Badshah Aurangzeb. He was staying here for a long time. Then Baradari, the famous white pavilion of Daulatabad fort, was constructed by Mughal Empire. Shah Jahan, he ordered, he funded it, and it was constructed after 1632. It is octagonal in shape, then stands near the summit of the fort, so well. It was heavily around the Baradari, there were heavy army, so it was heavily protected. Their emperor was staying there. It was a summer residence of the Mughal emperors because it had a cool breeze, and it was really in a jungle where they can really enjoy the summer. Then when you reach there, you can enjoy the awesome panoramic view from on top. However, you have to climb around 7 steps to reach this. So it is hectic but pleasurable. Look at this. It's a beautiful. So whatever is your effort to climb these 700 steps will get washed away. Then Chini Mahal. Chini Mahal was undoubtedly one of the most luxurious Nizam Shahi palace in Deccan region. The decorative blue enamel tiles of the ceramic called the Chinese porcelain used in the exterior of the palace. Some of them are seen in our picture and at present is damaged, and you are not allowed to go inside by the archaeology department. Hence the palace was named as Chini Mahal, but unfortunately the palace has now turned into ruins and it is not routinely, people are not allowed inside. Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb used this gorgeous palace then subsequently for royal prisoner. The imprisoned Abdul Hassan Qutub Shah in 1687, he was the last king of Golconda until his death here. He was put by Aurangzeb in this. This is the, look at this Chini Mahal, which you can see from the sides, is in ruined stage, but it speaks of his glory. The sultans, the kings were staying here once upon a time. Then Bharat Mata temple, formerly as a Jama Masjid. Jama Masjid of the Daulatabad fort was probably constructed during the region of Sultanate Alauddin Khilji of the Delhi. However, the mosque was later abandoned after independence of India. The idol of Bharat Mata was placed inside it and therefore known as Bharat Mata Mandir. And there is also Ranga Mandir built in 18th century. Ranga Mandir is another attractive structure still surviving. It consists of 6 interconnecting chambers, but the most delightful part of the rectangular structure is the intricately carved doorways. The pillars also have exquisite carvings. Now, take home message: Daulatabad, or formerly Devgiry Fort, is a delightful historical place with some incredible. The defense structure of the fort city is indeed a military marvel, but the structural defensive system had also been penetrated time to time, explaining the supremacy of the tactile welfare. History of Daulatabad fort flourished during different Badshahi rules in different ways, but the largest development of the Daulatabad fort took place during the Bahamani and Nizami Shahi rules. The Mughal era of the Daulatabad had produced some eye-catching constructions. In short, the surviving structures of Daulatabad still illustrate the proud history of the medieval Indians, politics and military strategies. With that, we are coming to the end of this lecture. I hope I have given you information. If you have liked it, give us a like. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe our channel. Thank you, goodbye and take care. This is Dr. Anil Joshi see you and promising you to meet again in our next video. Thank you, goodbye and take care.